If you are an entrepreneur, chances are you want to scale your business. But what if I told you the biggest thing holding you back is not your funnel, it's not your offer, it's not even your strategy. It is your brain. Your mind is the invisible bottleneck controlling how fast you move, how boldly you execute, and how fast you grow. And I want you to think about, what if there is a part of your brain that is quietly working against your goals? And what if by rewiring it, you could accelerate your results automatically? Hi, I'm Jody Jackson, a neuroencoding specialist who uses neuroscience to train your brain for high performance so that you can rewire your reality for the results you most want. So in this video, I am going to show you how to 10x your business by upgrading the operating system that's running it, your mind. And by the end of this video, you will understand why mastering your mind is the single greatest ROI that you can create for your business. This video is about the inner game that drives extraordinary outer results. So here is what most entrepreneurs do, and it makes them burn out before they actually break through. So most entrepreneurs, they are using something called mental stamina. So they use things like willpower, like discipline, hustle, grind, right? They work hard. How many of you watching this feel like you are currently working hard, or at least working in a way that feels hard? And this is often because they are trying to out-hustle something that they haven't yet outwired. Now, what do I mean by this? I mean, it's when we try to change our results with action, with activity, build the funnel, do the outreach, get the sale. But you might have some inner resistance that slows you down. It could be things like overwhelm, procrastination, hesitation, fear of failure, imposter syndrome, right? You can dress it up in so many different names. But if you have some stinking thinking, if you have some beliefs inside that cause you to doubt yourself, then you are stacking strategies on top of a subconscious belief system that just doesn't support them. And if your mind isn't wired to win, then you will keep hitting the same invisible walls, and you will burn yourself out trying to force yourself through them to actually reach your next level. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to fix that permanently. I'm going to show you that you do not need more force. You need a better formula, because it is not enough to rely on mental stamina. You actually need a mental strategy, one that allows you to wake up mentally clear, emotionally grounded, and with a feeling of self-certainty and inner peace. Could you imagine no longer needing to push through fear, through self-doubt, through procrastination, or even perfectionism, but instead you find yourself executing effortlessly, naturally towards what it is that you're trying to create, and not only seeing incredible results, but actually enjoying the journey to success. So before I walk you through how to have this, I just want to share a quick story with you. So I took my son to his swimming lesson, and he's just moved up to the big pool. So I'm sitting in the gallery and I'm watching, and in front of his lesson, in front of his lanes, there were other swimming lanes. And there was this one guy, and he was swimming, and he was trying so hard. So he was swimming and his arms were going crazy. He was splashing, he was thrashing, water was going everywhere. The kids were kind of flinching, and he was using so much energy. And I just felt tired watching him. But even with all of his effort, he was moving so slowly, right? And then right next to him, there was a guy in another lane. So he was in the fast lane, and he was gliding. There was barely a ripple coming off him, and he was taking less strokes. So physically, it almost looked like his body was moving in slow motion. He was using so much less effort, but he was moving more than twice as fast through the water. So I want to ask you, out of these two people, and we'll call them effort and ease, who do you think is going to run out of steam first? Effort. And even if they swam for the same amount of time, who would actually get further faster? Ease. And so let me ask you, would you prefer to be effort or ease, right? Would you like better results with less effort? Because I know I would. I would love better results with less effort. And when I say effort, by the way, I'm not talking about activity. I'm not talking about less activity. I'm talking about less effort, right? Because you are operating from strategy instead of stamina. But most people, especially high achievers and entrepreneurs, they are trying to succeed like effort. They push, they grind, they rely on willpower, on discipline, on forcing themselves forward. And those things can work, but they are not sustainable. Willpower is not designed for long-term success. And just to share a stat with you that shows this, it was found that 92% of people who rely on willpower, they actually fail to sustain their goals. And then when that happens, what do most people do? Most people blame blame themselves. They think things like, I'm lazy, I'm unmotivated, I just don't have discipline. Or maybe they even think things like, I'm just not cut out for this. But hear me now, believe me later, you are not broken, you were just given the wrong strategy, right? You were using effort when instead you need ease. So now, why is willpower effort? It's because willpower operates at the conscious level of the mind. But what really drives our behavior, what accounts for 95% of what we do, it's our subconscious mind, right? This is the real operating system of our life. So if it's conscious, it's effort. If it's subconscious, it is automatic. And so if your subconscious beliefs are not aligned with your goals, no matter how much effort you put in, no matter how much action you take, success will always feel hard. So let me just give you a quick example of this, right? If you have a goal that you're moving towards, and you have some beliefs that don't tie up with what you're trying to create, right? You want to put an offer out there, but somewhere inside there's a belief that says, well, what if people reject me? Or I don't know if I'm qualified enough, right? Then you feel that resistance, right? That inner resistance, and it slows you down. It's that pull between your desires and your doubts, and it drains your energy. And then when you get tired of pushing, it's so easy to just ping back. And this is where procrastination, imposter syndrome, all of those things show up, right? But if you can let go of the beliefs that hold you back, and you can install beliefs that are aligned with your goal, then actually you fly forward. Once you train your mind to align with what it is that you're trying to create, instead of subconsciously fighting against it, results don't just happen faster, they happen easier and with so much more joy. And I want to demonstrate this another way, because you've all experienced it in some way. So who here has set up an automation for their business? But if you have, my next question is, why do you automate? And for so many of us, it's because it saves us time, right? It's because it runs without you. You build it once and then it works while you sleep or while you're doing other activity. It books calls, it nurtures leads, it closes deals, whatever it is. Now imagine that you could automate 95% of your business so that 95% of everything happened automatically. And imagine if it was set up so well, seamlessly, that everything was firing together, the triggers, the automations, the nurture sequences, everything in perfect harmony and working perfectly without you. How easy would it feel? How much time would you have? And how much money would you make? Right? If you had that kind of system, how sweet would it be to run that kind of business? Who wants a system like that? I know I do. Okay, so now let me ask you another question. Have you ever set up anything badly on the back end? Have you automated stuff that hasn't worked so well, right? You've had a funnel glitch, emails not fire, payment links break, all of that fun stuff. When what you've automated is bad, it causes all sorts of problems for your business, right? It wastes time, it causes stress, and it steals money away from activity that you could be doing that would be revenue generating. And if you want to have a good back-end system in your business, a well-automated machine, it needs to be designed. It doesn't happen by accident. And you can think of your subconscious as the ultimate automation machine, right? You know that it's responsible for 95% of everything that you think, everything you feel, and everything that you do without you having to even think about it. It happens automatically. And it has been built over years. Some of it by design, but most has been automated accidentally. But when you can train your brain, you condition your subconscious to work in your favor so that how you think, how you feel, what you believe, and how you behave is aligned with the result that you actually want. That is when everything changes, because what you want to do no longer feels like a struggle, right? You do it automatically. That is when you become wired to win. So from what I've seen, most people that want success, they don't just need to try harder, they need to align deeper. And that is what neuroconditioning does. It is the strategy of mental ease, not mental exhaustion. And so success, it doesn't start with forcing action, right? That is the hard way. The easy way is aligning your beliefs with the results that you want. So the action feels effortless. You execute with ease. And not only do you execute with ease, you actually get better results. Why? So I want to show you something, and it's called the success cycle. And it's made up of 4 parts. And it starts with your beliefs. And where do your beliefs live? The conscious mind or the subconscious mind? The subconscious mind. And before I walk you through this, I just want to tell you a quick story. And it is about a runner called Roger Bannister. So who is Roger Bannister? He was the first man to run a mile in under 4 minutes. And at the time when he was doing this, people said it was impossible, right? Experts said the human body just could not move at that speed for that long. It will cause serious injury. But Roger, he had different beliefs. So he had this inner certainty that it was possible, without a doubt. And because he believed that, he was able to train for years. He was fully committed to what he believed was possible. And on May 6, 1954, he did it. He ran a mile in under 4 minutes. And the most amazing thing about this is that it didn't just validate his belief, it changed everybody else's. So it shifted everyone's belief about what's possible. And when other people began to believe, they began to achieve, right? Because it took just 46 days for somebody else to break this 4-minute mile barrier. And in the decades that have gone on since, more than 1,000 runners have gone on to do the same. And none of the runners that succeeded had any enhanced physical qualities from any of the runners who had tried and failed before them. What made them different? They had enhanced psychological qualities. They had proof of the possible. And this gave them better beliefs. And so they got better results. There is even a term for it in psychology. And I feel like this was one of the lazy days in the lab when they actually labeled it, because it's called the Roger Bannister effect. And essentially what it shows is that when you expand your belief in what is possible, you actually expand your capacity to achieve it. Now, why am I telling you this? It's because when I talk to you about the success cycle, you will see this play out in action. You will see a living, breathing example of this, right? So the success cycle is made up of 4 parts, and it starts with your beliefs. And the beliefs you have affect how much potential you access. And depending on how much potential you tap into, it's going to affect the action you take, right? And depending on the action you take, it affects the results that you get. Depending on the results you get, it reinforces the belief. So it's a cycle. It goes round and round all the time. So if you have limiting beliefs, then you limit your potential, right? You limit your actions and you limit your results. And it reinforces this cycle of limitation. Is that making sense? Perfect. Okay. So when you upgrade your beliefs, when you expand what's possible, you actually tap into more of your potential, which allows you to take more action. So you get better results. And then you reinforce this belief of what is possible. Right? This is how momentum builds. And so know that success doesn't start with activity. It starts with belief. So if you have been trying to create external results without rewiring your internal beliefs to actually support them, then you have been trying to succeed the hard way, right? Who is seeing this? If you're beginning to see this, type in the comments, I see it. It will always feel like effort. But if you want next level results, you don't need more force. You need a better formula. One that installs the beliefs that effortlessly lead to the actions that generate the results that you want. This is the secret to moving from effort to ease. And when your mind becomes wired to win, success doesn't just happen faster, it happens easier and with so much more joy. Hi, my name's Jody, and I hope you like this video. Hit subscribe if you want more, and type in the comments, what is your biggest takeaway from today? I would love to hear what resonates with you most. And if you want to go deeper into this work, click the link in the description, and I'll see you on the inside.